blindness of the main subject as really a sensitive issue. I thought it was great to have the opportunity to show readers a subject with a disability as part of just the spectrum of normal people they might see. The only difficult thing about it was giving backstory, because the story wasn't really about his disability, it was about this extra ability that he had to echolocate. But the story of how he became blind, we thought we should include because we had photos and he had a lot of scarring on his face. And the actual story was that he was shot in Iraq, and we did not want to say that for young children, because that would be pretty scary. So I talked with my editor, and we decided to say that he was badly hurt in Iraq, and that was just where we left it. And so that was the only thing that we really had to be careful with. And then otherwise, I think it was straightforward to just talk to him and present him just as he is, because he was such a great subject. Yeah, one thing I tell people often is to think about the most important takeaway that they want readers to have from their story. So for example, if you were writing about plants for like elementary school age readers, maybe the most important thing you want them to take away is that plants make their food from sunlight, and maybe it's not as important for you to say that they do it using photosynthesis or that they do it in chloroplasts, and having those terms in the story might overwhelm readers to see a lot of technical jargon on the page. Another good rule of thumb is to just stick to one idea per sentence and not have like multiple clauses. And then vocabulary obviously is like the first thing that you think of. Anytime you're using a word, to just stop and think, why am I using this word? Is there a simpler word I can use? And if so, like, let's just use that word and not make it unnecessarily hard. If people are having a really hard time, I might suggest just picturing a person of the age who you're writing for kind of standing in front of you. Because I think if this author had like a 10-year-old standing in front of them and had set out to just explain this idea to that kid, they wouldn't have drawn on all that jargon and everything. They would have just intuitively talked in a different way. So I spent 7 years editing Muse magazine, which is a kids science magazine for ages 10 and up, or 10 to 14 roughly. But these days as a freelancer, I write more often for adults, but I do freelance for Muse magazine and for Ask. Ask is for about ages 7 to 10. And then sometimes I also write for Click, which is in the same family of magazines, and it's one step younger, so it's like ages 3 to 6. Writing across all those different age groups is a really good exercise, I think, for it's almost like physical exercise, but for your writing brain to kind of try saying things for different audiences. And I think that's also helpful exercise for writing in general, because I think even if you're writing for adults, you should always be aware of who your audience is and who you're talking to. And so doing a lot of writing for kids reminds you to always have that in your mind, who you're aiming to be able to speak to.